Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at my tier list of the EZA TURs that are currently available in DBZ Dokkan Battle. Now, a couple disclaimers: I can only rank what's available on global. I'm only ranking those TURs that have EZA'd as at the 20th of December. So if anyone EZAs in between now and then, I won't be able to cover them, and yeah, that kind of basically summarizes it. So overall, honestly speaking, pretty cool stuff. I think I've compiled probably the units I want to select from. If there's any others that exist down below here, don't think they have a shot at the top 10. Not to say that they're bad, there are some really interesting picks here. For example, Transforming Frieza is pretty cool, Super Vegeta is quite gimmicky and quite fun, so is this one. You also have Future Gohan, who's pretty solid, the physical one, so there's a couple decent picks. It's just that they don't necessarily light my fire as the top 10 options. So let's start with the top pick, and I'm going to say it's AGL Zamasu. Now, AGL Zamasu does a couple of things. He's got damage reduction, he's got healing, he's got additional attacks, he's got stacking defense, he's got just a whole huge array of things that he does that are super duper helpful and super duper beneficial for a team. In second place is where things get a little bit more difficult. I think I scanned around here for a while, trying to see which units and EZAs would be ones that I would consider to be, obviously good enough for the top 10. I think there's some really good honorable mentions, like Super 17 is a really good unit. But I think for me, overall, I kind of wanted to base it on a couple parameters. Leader skill, I think, is super important, and team accessibility. So, for example, although Strength Kaioken Goku is an incredibly fun, awesome unit that could be number 2, I think he'll probably sit more around here because currently his team that he needs to kind of make himself super good is a little bit lacking. Boo is kind of the same in that Boo himself is awesome, just the team he's on is also a little bit lacking. Piccolo is also very similar. He's great, awesome defensively, lots of healing, but he also kind of feels like, again, he's lacking a little bit of having a solid team. He's good on Worthy Rivals, he's great on Battle of Wits, so that kind of keeps him around in the top 10. I think for number 2, it's very difficult because whenever you're talking about Extreme Z Awakened units, there's a lot that they can bring to the table. Sorry, this 17 should be in the running. There's always kind of like debates people will have. Do you want them to be kind of suitable support units? Do you want them to be super strong focal point units? I think for me, it should always be, especially when we're talking DFE TURs, should always be focal point kind of units. So I think in second place, I'm still going to have to put AGL Gogeta. I think his leader skill is super good. Movie Heroes and Fusion. I think he still is a fantastic damage dealer. He has a 70% evasion rate, and he's got guaranteed crits. And his transformation is super accessible. So I would definitely still put him in at second. I think next, in terms of third place, I would probably have to put, I think, either AGL, Android 13, or probably Int Future Gohan. Now, AGL Android 13 is actually really, really good. And I think the only thing holding him back is two things. One, he is a little bit team specific, very similar to this Goku. And two, he also has a lot of his damage locked against facing superclass enemies, which limits him from a lot of the super hard events in terms of offense. But defensively, he's very good start of turn, and just in general, a pretty good unit. I would probably maybe do this, and then that feels a little bit better to me, but we'll have to see. Next, I probably would say we need to rank in this MVP 17. Much like Goku, he's a really good unit, and I think he's a fantastic support unit. I think people were maybe not so enamored with his Extreme Z Awakening, but I do think it was actually pretty good. And I would have to say that it provided some really good utility to the team. I think on an individual level he's probably worse off than Mr. Piccolo, but I think the fact that he's quite flexible as a unit, a great support, and pretty solid gives him kind of the up and up over him, at least for me. Next, we're talking kind of like the final kind of positions. I think for me, Int Bardock falls out just due to virtue of being a little bit too limited. And then we talk about these four. Now, this Int Goku Black is honestly not as bad as people make him out to be, but I think his limitations are shown, and I think he is probably the unit least likely to make any of his top teams, and they should put a lot of effort into him. So we will remove him from the running. Now we have Trunks, Beerus, and good old Cooler. Now I want to say that I objectively think Beerus is probably one of the best EZAs. I legitimately find Beerus to be super duper good. Beerus is probably, in terms of individual performance, closer to this midsection than he is to the bottom. But I think for me the big thing with Beerus is, although he's great individually, he does have some linking issues on his teams, and I think he can be a little bit inconsistent. With that being said, he does lead Realm of the Gods, and he is a very strong option overall. Next we have the Cooler and Trunks. In terms of Cooler and Trunks, I think I'd put them as even, as number 10 on the list. Cooler and Trunks are both kind of similar to each other in that they're stacking units. Trunks does stack a lot faster than Cooler and leads a good team, but the big issue with Trunks is that he loses out to AoE events. In fact, I probably would put Trunks maybe here, or even here. I think he could definitely be like this, and I'd probably say this is about fair. I think this is probably where I'd leave it for now. In terms of EZA TURs, I think this is a fair representation of the list, at least in terms of how I feel about individual performance. I think on any given day you could interchange any of these guys, and a lot of it depends on teams. I think if you were to really focus on teams, Trunks would probably be higher, as it's only really this Master event where it feels like he's super out of his depth. But the way Beerus can dominate events is really impressive, and Android 13 has really impressed me with the short time that I've been using him, and he should only really get better with some Android's buffs. Super Boo is really good individually, but just kind of falls a little bit behind in terms of a team, and these ones feel the most likely to drop off next. And that's going to be it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think, and basically what you are going to run, or what you think should be the top 10. And yeah, that's it from me. Bye.